Hey YouTube, how are you? It's MJ from Alta Love, and I wanted to share based on one of your comments. I also wanted to apologize because I was really inspired by this comment, and I ended up watching a few videos myself, and I also shared on Facebook and on Instagram as a sort of way to process and sit with um, your comment about the physical attractiveness in a shallow world and spirituality and all of that, and that's been a theme certainly, and I think it's the double edge of everything and the paradox of life. um, so I feel that our physicality is part of our challenge, definitely, for a lot of us. And how we overcome those challenges are part of the path that we're on, and also part of that path because of how we're meant to share with one another. And really, the truth is like seeing the beauty in all humanity, seeing the divinity in all people. Um, and it's really that love, that divinity, that compassion that to me is the radiance and beauty that shines through us. And when we're masking that, and when we're buying into a shallow story about humanity, and when we're buying into the mainstream media, now you may or may not know that I'm completely unplugged from the mainstream media and have been for almost 10 years now. And I do really connect that with self-improvement and being able to invoke the practices of self-love, and knowing full well that those practices of self-love help us radiate and at the same time help us feel better about who we are. And it really is only the mainstream media that would have us believe that there's a way to compare us as human beings. And it's weirdly only the mainstream media that makes us think that there's like a a box of beauty, as it were, like a standardized form of beauty, because there isn't. There really isn't. It's just diversity and variety, and all beings are exquisite in their own way. And there again, it's the mainstream media, it's that shallow program of the world that would make us believe that some people are better than others, or people who look like this are somehow better or worse. And it's not the case at all. Like, every single soul is totally divine, and yet we live in this funny old world that has us sort of like imprinted and programmed to believe those people have it better, or those people have it better. And when you get right down to it, and you get really serious about your own joy and your own ability to like just be okay about who you are, that shines through. That authenticity. That's the word. That's the nugget. That's the word. It's that authenticity and our ability to feel and be authentic. That, to me personally, that's what real attractiveness is, or magnetism. Magnetism is somebody who knows themselves, somebody who gets themselves. And to me, that's real attractiveness, because people might look attractive according to some social standard. Hi, Rochelle. Um, and then again, here's the thing, this is just my life experience. Like, people might be attractive according to some social standard. Honestly, I don't even see that anymore, but I used to when I was more like invested in social programming or media programming. And then I'd hear the person's voice, or I'd have a little chat with them and the attraction would just disappear. My perception of them would totally alter and they would look completely different, i.e., they wouldn't look conventionally attractive anymore because I wasn't attracted to them anymore. So, attraction is one thing. Looking at someone as like a picture and a comparative picture against other people and stuff, that's another thing. Thinking people are better or worse based on looks, that's never great, because that's the whole teaching of don't judge a book by its cover. And that's the double edge of the divide and conquer tactic of the mainstream media, right? Hey, Rochelle, not the timeline changers about me. Exactly. The mainstream media uses that tactic, divide and conquer, inferiority, superiority, making people think that they're better or worse than one another. So our looks, our weight, our gender, our class, our age, our background, our ethnicity, it's like anything that could divide us, separate us, make us think we're radically different is a way to keep us less powerful, right? And you could say it's us doing it to ourselves. It's us keeping ourselves under the program or under the illusion or under the veil of enslavement, being enslaved by our own minds, right? And like just picking people out, random people, as like the enemy of our own conflict, right? But then when we really look at that inner conflict, if we look at that and say, I desire that or I feel that, then we all have. I've seen people undergo transformation. And the difference is that people can go from they don't believe in themselves and they don't think they're attractive, and then they start believing in themselves and they start believing in how they kind of vision themselves, and they become attractive. They become beautiful people. And they were always beautiful. But the difference is just when somebody believes it to be, that shines out. And it really, truly does. I know, labels, it's a double edge. Everything, it's like the paradox. Everything's a paradox, right? And labels is another one. And I love this because I've recently met someone who does like challenge me, challenge things I say, like kind of picks them apart, but in a kind of kind and or just intelligent way. And I'm going on about that, Rochelle, like labels, they limit us, all of this. And then he was sort of like, well, there is a place for that. There's a place for psychology and there's a place for all this research. I know, damned if you do, damned if you don't. That's the whole thing of like the paradox. I'm like, we're not, and even doing a share like this, it's funny for me because I don't feel like I need to defend anything. Like, I don't think that some souls are weaker depending on their physical attractiveness, because I don't really buy into like physical attractiveness the way I think most people do. And for me personally, it's never been like a comfortable, easy thing necessarily. If anything, again, there's a double edge, because you just get different things from different people depending on how you look. And so going back to the labels, yeah, he was like, well, psychology and da-da-da, and there's a place for that. And I was like, yeah, I guess, we evolve and we expand by exploring and observing ourselves, and I guess labeling. But I'm kind of with you where I'm just like, no, but then we want to break through that, because the truth is there's no way to label a human and put them into a box. That just is limiting, because we are, what'd you say? I am me, I be. It's just, we're just who we are. And that is like the unique snowflake, the unique blade of glass. Every single one of us is completely unique. I know. And it, like, just like everything else, whether we want to manifest money, whether we want to da-da-da-da, like, for real, true, if we believe that we are beautiful, if we believe that this is, that's how we desire to look, and that's how we feel. We just have to, like, our transformation, our body, a transformation, our money mindset, all of it is in us to shift and change and morph. But the diligence of our practice, of our inner work to really believe in ourselves, is what needs to be committed. And recognize, if we don't believe in ourselves, if we don't think we're attractive, that's often what we project into the world, right? And then that can often be a really negative spiral for us, because of how the world perpetuates and divides us based on our physical attractiveness, right? But that's the truth. That there really is no such thing in that regard. There's just our own personal preference. So because of our own unique set point where we may or may not be attracted to one another. And then yeah, we have this, like, distortion of the mainstream media kind of perpetuating this idea that some people are better or some people have it easier because of how they look. And I think this whole agenda of, like, thinking some people have it easier as well is also part of divide and conquer. Because the more veils that get lifted, it's like, no, it's not like that. Our lives have ebbs and flows. Everyone's life has ebbs and flows. Sometimes we're up, sometimes we're down. Some people appear to have it all. It's not the case. That's part of the illusion of the mainstream media as well. Like, thinking any of us, like, really have it all together, or maybe some people really do. I'm not sure. I don't. It's just in the moment, like, what comes through, and then seeing a second comment from one of you and being like, oh yeah, I want to sit with this, and I want to share about this, because no one deserves to feel bad for how they look. And again, that's why I encourage people to unplug from the mainstream media. The mainstream media makes us kind of feel bad, right? Time to write a dissertation. I don't know about that, but so yeah, unplug from the mainstream media. Practice self-love. Don't buy into any of that stuff, and just get to know who you are, because you are loved, and you are a radiant being, no matter what. That's, like, the truth. That's, like, the juicy nugget truth that I see, that I've always seen. And then, because sometimes people have had made those comments, that's been part of my journey, where people might get bullied for looking one way. You can get bullied for being so-called attractive. People can judge you and treat you a certain way because of that, and not in a positive way. So we all have certain challenges to overcome because of our physical attractiveness, but it's not necessarily what we think it is. It's not necessarily like sunshine and rainbows. And again, that's part of our challenge. I think this is worth sitting with and writing more about, perhaps, or talking more about. I did notice there are some other teachers or people on YouTube who have talked about it. If you guys feel like you desire more clarity, or just for me to share more about it. Yeah, as an empath to spirit, they feel the judgment from others, but they judge themselves. That's the double edge of it, isn't it? Of, like, feeling judgment from other, thinking it's us, thinking something's wrong with us. We're not, we're too much for people, or something like that. And it's not the case, It's like, there's so much love and stuff. Okay, you guys. It's early. It's just gone 5 o'clock, and I've got to drive into London now. So, but yeah, I think it's Donnie something. I saw a comment, and then it reminded me that I forgot to pick it up and to share about this, because it is relevant. This is why I really appreciate when you guys comment, because there's a lot of topics that I probably don't mention. Hey, hidden observer, how are you? Midnight there, 4 a.m. here. Must be in America somewhere, or Canada. yeah, it's like a thing, I guess. Yeah, it's kind of annoying, actually. Fair dues. Like I could talk about stuff like this a little bit more, in our spiritual communities. Like, how do we broach that? Because I've had quite a few people like come up to me and just tell me things that I've done to them in past lives that I'm not like 100% sure of, and that I'm not sure it's just because there's a reaction. There's like a subtle reaction. Anyway, that's side note. Side note, not important, you guys. Not important at all. Oh, Michigan. I grew up near Michigan. I traveled. I had family in Troy, Michigan growing up. I've just got my little pot of coffee here. It's just hey, Rochelle Hidden Observer, you guys become a friends. Can you tell there's a little bit of delirium happening? I had an epic day yesterday. Was on the go really from like 5 until midnight last night, and I got back and I, made the bed where, fresh linens when you've got fresh bedding, and puttered about, and I feel good. I had some energy, but then woke up at 4 this morning, so I'm a little bit short on sleep. Adrenaline insomnia. Totally, Rochelle. This is what I get sometimes because I'm just generally excited about living life. But I had a turnover at my flat for Airbnb, and I was hosting a retreat. Pardon me. And then I drove to Bristol, and there's this really cool chica who's doing a yoga podcast, and she interviewed me yesterday. Really nice to hang out with her. I love Rochelle so much. And so then I had a podcast interview, and then from Bristol, I drove all the way down to Brighton, got to Brighton, did my room. Like, it just took me hours basically to settle in. And then sleep mode. And then I'm driving into London. I've got two sessions this morning, and then one this afternoon. So busy. But I'm happy to be busy, and I can see this, like, the tunnel is just like, it's like the light's getting bigger at the end of the tunnel probably, but I'm loving the tunnel journey right now. I am loving the focus of it, and the adrenaline insomnia, I can handle it. I can handle it for like a day or two, and then I need to power down and sleep for an extra bit. So tonight or today, I'll probably come back from London, have a power snooze, or maybe like go sit in the sun and sleep. and then go to bed early tomorrow, do it all again on Tuesday. I digress, however, and I hope that was somehow useful to you guys, and maybe it was even entertaining. I don't know. But I appreciate you, and I really appreciate your comments. Like, even the ones that, I don't know, might seem kind of judgy or whatever. You're like, you're good to go, man. Like, I just gotta say to every human in the whole entire world, you are loved. No matter what. Even like the worst thing ever, there's still love there. You might choose to operate from a different perspective, or from a different frequency, but you've still got the love. Keep it real. I don't know what that was, but I love you, and I also wish you a glorious day in YouTube internet land. And I know that you two there are commenting, chit-chatting with me here now, Rochelle and Hidden Observer. I know that you guys, it's late. It's bedtime. You guys get to sleep, right? Buddha's saying go to sleep, you guys. Oh, gosh. I gotta go. Thanks, Rochelle. Thanks, Hidden Observer. Appreciate you guys. Let me know what you think. How do you feel about this whole physical attractiveness? I think it was a couple videos ago, maybe the eclipse video, where someone just commented, and I felt it was a genuine kind of like just asking. Like, we live in this physical image focused world, and like, you people talking about all this love and light and spirituality are like look a certain way, and what does that mean for us? And I'm like, I don't know what that means, because I've also kind of grappled with it, because we desire having adoring ourselves, and we desire the self-love, but the disparity is that we often don't believe that we could be, we don't believe that we are, so we don't show up like that. Anywho, I'll stop talking because I got to go drive into London. Okay, I love you guys, have a great day, peace out.